Right. All right. Hello, Las Vegas, or wherever you may be listening. This is Face the Tribune. I am Chris Garcia. I am humbled to be sitting in my mentor, my friend, Rolando Larraz' seat today and hosting. My co-host today is my friend and the wonderful host of the Conservative Roundtable, John Estrada. Hi, John. How are you doing today?
Well, I'm doing great. Thank you so much, Chris, for another show of Face the Tribune. And let's see what happens.
That's right. Well, we're one day closer to the election, and Donald Trump is supposed to, I see, come out with a contract with America, I think, next week, and he's going to detail what he wants to do for the country. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he has in store for the American people. I think that I wish he would have done it earlier, but it's never too late. And I think that it's very important for him to outline point for point what he wants to do for the American people and allow them to see his plan and what he wants to do. What do you think about that, John?
Well, I think it's a brilliant idea. I think you're right, better late than never. And I remember in 1994 when Newt Gingrich proposed the first contract with America. That was an extremely effective vehicle to help them retake the Congress from the Democrats.
Absolutely. Absolutely, John.
And I'm sure Newt is advising him on that.
Absolutely. He was almost his VP choice, so I'm sure he has something to do with that. What is your vibe of the voters right now? Do you think it's a close race and the liberal media is blown out of proportion that Hillary has this locked?
Absolutely. It's just their way of trying to discourage the conservative and Republican coalitions from going to the polls on November the 8th. It's just their way of having a public position and a private position. You know, I just found out a couple hours ago that we are being severely attacked with cyber attacks all over America right now. And it's creating such a headache with a lot of different big top internet sites, including Visa, Amazon, Twitter, and it just goes on and on and on. In fact, it even messed up my emailing system, so I cannot put out Conservative America Broadcast Network newsletter today because it's been shut down. And so the site's not even working.
What do you think is behind it, John?
Well, I understand that there was some very damaging information that came out today on WikiLeaks, and I think they're trying to divert and wag the tail from the American public right now. They want to cause this. So I wouldn't be surprised if our government has something to do with having everything be distracted from what has happened about Obama. I don't know if you're familiar, or what was just put out by WikiLeaks, is that Obama had direct knowledge of Hillary Clinton's email private server.
Oh, wow.
In fact, he made
What a surprise, huh, John?
In fact, he made statements to people in the government not to disclose the fact that he knew about that, and to go around government information to her site so that nobody else could see it.
Wow. John, this is worse than Watergate. What do you think?
Oh, it's disastrous for our government to have such a corrupt administration, a corrupt president, and then they want to go ahead and elect more of a corrupt president. We've had 8 years of corruption. We've had 8 years of an administration has failed the American public, and now they want 4 more. You know, if that doesn't get people's passions up and the desire to go out and make change, make the kind of change that's not going to shortchange us, I don't know what's going to wake up America, but this, to me, this should make everybody's eyes wide open.
Absolutely. It just seems like a continuing attack on the American people, a continuing attack on the Constitution of the United States. And we just can't afford 4 more years of Obama Clinton. We can't afford it, and to allow 1, 2, possible 3 new Supreme Court justices to be elected by another 4 years of Barack Obama. Can you imagine the direction this country would go in if they had the majority of the Supreme Court and could push through their laws onto the American people on abortion, on gun rights? It would be a disaster, John.
Yeah, it's no doubt about that. Their goal is to steal the U.S. Supreme Court. Their goal is to take it any way they can. They don't follow the laws as they're written right now.
Absolutely.
And so now what they're going to do is they're going to try to create laws that everybody else should follow or must follow, but them. Even if they put laws out that we have to follow, I guarantee you they're not going to follow those laws.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just corrupt, just beyond belief, and it's just amazing that so many Americans could even think about electing her president of the United States. I mean, have you ever seen a more corrupt politician running for president, John? I haven't in my history. I can't remember it.
I am so shocked and dismayed at how arrogant these people are. They just don't care whether or not they're found out. They just don't care if they're put on a spotlight. They just flatly don't care what the American public knows.
They don't.
And that's scary because that tells me that they do have the books cooked.
Absolutely.
And this system is totally rigged, folks.
Absolutely.
And if we don't get rid of them now, 4 years from now, maybe too late for us.
Absolutely.
It might be too late already, but I tell you what, for the next 2.5 weeks, we're going to be fighting like heck to get our voters to the polls to vote these corrupt politicians out of office and put them where they belong, and that's in jail.
Absolutely. It's the only thing that gives me hope is I miss my friend very much, Rolando. He'll be on later with you this afternoon. He's been fighting for America for many years, and he does this show every day for years and does the Las Vegas Tribune to try and put the truth out, and he doesn't care what race you are, what religion you are, what political party you belong to, as long as you tell the truth and you're not afraid to tell the truth, and he's going to ask you hard questions. He has your respect, and it's just amazing how corrupt things are today, and I'm just flabbergasted, but it gives me so much hope when I come on and I'm around Rolando and I'm around John Estrada, the great host of Conservative Roundtable, because they love America and they fight for America. They believe in America. They don't believe it's too late. And it gives me hope when I see Donald Trump stand up and just continue to fight, even though he's been barraged by the liberal media. I mean, they're digging up stuff that happened 10, 15 years ago, but when you do the same thing to Hillary Clinton and her husband, it's off limits. It's, why are we talking about the past? Well, why are you bringing up Donald Trump's past?
Well, they're trying to make Donald Trump into somebody that he really isn't. They're trying to brand him, and they're trying to paint him as a picture of being a jokester or somebody that is irrelevant. But let's face it, Donald Trump was in the entertainment arena. His job was to entertain. His job was not to govern. Absolutely. His job was to be a businessman, and that's what he did. He's made a lot of money.
Yes.
He's got a name branding on his name, Trump,
yes,
all over the world.
Yes.
And so he is successful. He would be a great president. He would be a great commander-in-chief. And the only thing we need to do is don't believe the lies. Back during Truman's time, the polling and the media and everybody was saying that Truman was going to lose that election.
Absolutely.
And in fact, they were so ornery and arrogant, they actually published the newspaper, right, and they were putting it out that he was going to lose. Absolutely. They were totally convinced, and they tried to make America believe that he was going to lose, and what happens?
That's right.
I'm sorry he won.
John, I'm guilty of that myself, and I watch so much news, TV and radio, and you just hear there's no chance this election is over. And the only thing that the last couple of days has changed my mind, and I believe that like you've been telling me and Rolando have been telling me, it's a much closer race, is they seem nervous I mean, they are pulling out all the stops.
Well,
you know, they got Michelle Obama in Arizona. They got Bill Clinton in Florida. If you got the race locked up, why are you so nervous?
No doubt about it. They are really scared because they've done everything to cook the books, rig the system, and they know that it's still very, very close.
Absolutely.
For them to take the kind of arrogance and chances they're taking now, they are scared.
Absolutely.
They're scared that the outcome is going to happen. And I'm very hopeful, and I'm praying that it does change, and we do get a great change in America, and to make it great again.
Yes, absolutely. Now, what is, you know, he said it the other night in the debate, they are so sure that the people that are, at least the liberal media, that the Russians are interfering in our election. What are your thoughts on that? You think there's any truth to that, or you think they have any idea?
Well, you know, it's just like anything, Chris, okay? We get information from every place, and that's what makes America great. We can find things out that the normal media should be telling us, like WikiLeaks. If we're getting information from Chinese or Russians or whoever we're getting information is, they've never denied, the Democrats and Hillary and all of them have never denied that the information was incorrect. What does that tell you? So if it's incorrect, what does it matter? Like Hillary's famous line, what does it matter?
Exactly.
It doesn't matter who's delivering the information as long as the information is correct.
That's right. That's right, John. So that lets you know right there that it must be true because...
You know, and especially with this that connection between Obama and Hillary in this personal email scandal, which really puts it at the most dangerous. If they're talking private secrets on a private line, guess what? Yeah, the Russians know about it. The Chinese know about it. All our enemies know about it, and they're laughing.
That's right.
And they're laughing so much that they know that if Hillary gets elected, they're going to blackmail her like she's never been blackmailed before.
You know, they've done a good job of covering up for her, but my dad used to always tell me lies come out eventually. Eventually lies come out. And I think we're going to see the last 2.5 weeks so many lies and deception come out to the American people. I believe God is going to have a hand on this election.
I'm very hopeful. You know, there is a lot of religious people that, you know, are getting involved like I've never seen the Catholic Church be so involved in an election. They are having bishops and priests and you know, even the former Pope, you know, he come out and said, don't vote for Hillary. Yeah. So, I mean, if you look at just the awesome Christianity and Jewish and all the faiths are coming together and saying, they cannot allow this evil to take over the White House.
Absolutely.
The most powerful position in the world be taken over by evil.
Absolutely, John. Absolutely. What do you think about the state of Nevada? Where is the latest poll showing? Is it still a dead heat, or is somebody pulled ahead? Or?
Well, I've heard and I've seen different reports, and I truly believe it's in the margin of error. Mm-hmm. I think it's too close to call in Nevada. The latest poll shows Trump by a few points ahead. But, you know, like I said before, I don't trust the polls at all. And so the polls and the media, you got to be very leery of that, folks. If you believe that Trump is going to make America great again, go and vote. That's the bottom line.
Absolutely.
Forget about the media. Don't turn your TVs off. Boycott the media, because all they're doing is telling you lies, and they're going to get you so worked up where you're going to be frustrated and not want to vote. That's their intent. They want to get you frustrated. They want you to make believe that Trump is not going to win.
Absolutely. So
go out there and vote. Vote on November 8th, or if you're going to do your absentee, make sure it gets in time.
You know, I see a lot of, you know, they're always talking about the large lead that she has among women voters, but every time I see Trump at one of those sold-out rallies with 10 and 15 and 20,000 people at his rallies, there are a lot of women in the audience, and I see a lot of women for Trump signs. And, you know, my dad and my grandfather used to always teach me, one of the ways you can tell how someone feels about a man, or how his daughters or his wives, or how he treats women, all you got to do is look at his family, and his wife and his children, especially his girls, they adore him, and they have nothing but good. And the close people, women that have worked around him, they adore him. So, you know, I trust the people that work with him and live with him and are married to him more than the people that are coming with these 20-year-old stories saying that he came on to them. I don't believe that. I think that he's going to have more female support than what the liberal media is trying to tell us.
Well, you know, and that tells you, you're absolutely right. When you have a couple of daughters standing behind you, going to these political events, taking up all this hard work. It's hard work to campaign. Absolutely. I don't know if anybody's done it before. Very many people have done it before. I've done it, so I know it's very hard work. And for your family to be personally involved in the campaign, it takes even that much more effort. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I give the Trump family great credit on their ability to stay together and work for the good of America, because it really does show something very special.
When you ran for office, John, I don't know how many of our viewers out there, our listeners, know about that, but did the campaign or when you ran, did you receive any personal attacks or any attacks on your family or anything like that that you had to defend?
Well, you know, one thing about politics, you do get death threats, and you do get some derogatory people not agreeing with you. And just like America is divided right now, 50% of the country is divided, and you do have the extreme portions on both sides of the aisle. Unfortunately, you have people that are, you know, over the edge. And you know, one thing I was talking to was a county commissioner yesterday. We were talking about mental health in Nevada. There are a lot of people that have mental illness, and there isn't enough resources to help them. Yes, Unfortunately, Nevada is one of those states. That's why there's so much homeless problem here in Nevada and stuff like that. So if there's one big need in America, that's more funding and more help for the mental illness.
Absolutely. We're sitting here at 20 after the hour. We are on Radio Tribune. If you'd like to call in, 702-983-0711, and we would love to hear from you. We don't care what political party you're in. When you call in, you're facing the John Estrada, the host of Conservative Roundtable, and he will put you in the hot seat. You're here with Chris Garcia. Once again, call in 702-983-0711. The show is presented by Mailed by Renee. You can call in 702-626-0716, 626-0716. The address is 716 South 10th Street. And for $10 a month, you can come in and see the office supervisor, CN, there. She will be sitting there for ferocious guard dog bonbon. And they will rent you a fabulous Las Vegas mailing address. 702-626-0716, and you can get started for $10 a month. I'm sitting here with my friend, and I don't say that loosely. I'm honored to be sitting here in the host chair today for Rolando Rojas, the famous Rolando Rojas, my mentor and the host of Face the Tribune. I'm sitting here with my friend John Estrada, and John, this is an important election. We've got to get the people out. Don't be fooled. My conservative friends out there, they are worried about this election. They don't think they have it in the bag. I mean, they're not sitting back, never seen, like our friend Rolando says, a sitting president this active in an election trying to get someone elected. John, have you ever seen anything like this?
It's amazing, especially when he's going around flying all over the country campaigning for Hillary at taxpayer expense. From what I understand, it's over $200,000 per hour every time he puts Air Force One in the air.
Right.
And that's, I hope they hold him accountable and make sure all that money is returned back to the taxpayer, and they don't get stuck with that bill, because that would be outrageous.
Absolutely.
For him to waste the money, the salary we're paying him. We're not paying him to go be campaigning for Hillary Clinton. We're paying him to solve these cyber attacks right now. He should be at full full administration solving these issues that are attacking America right now.
Absolutely, John. Absolutely.
You know, one of the big things right now, if I do also have to give credit to Rolando, you know, for such an active role in trying to help Donald Trump get elected.
Absolutely,
you
John.
know, for him out of his own resources, day and day, every day for well over a year and a half, he's constantly advocated for Donald Trump, and he had the vision and the foresight to see such a great leader in Donald Trump. And so, hats off to you, Rolando, and we appreciate your service to America, and we thank you for the opportunity to work with you to make sure that we do make America great again.
Amen. Amen. But yourself also, John, you have come in. I don't know if you all know, John is coming from California, right, John? And he has invigorated the show, and his show is wonderful. I get really excited when I'm allowed to be on his show, and he's going to add a spark to this radio network, and the future looks bright. And thankfully, Rolando has allowed John and I to be a part of this business and be a part of this of Radio Tribune, and we're just going to continue to fight for conservative views and for conservative laws, and we're going to take this to another level and just continue to fight. And I just appreciate you sitting here with me, John. We have to get the message out to the people, because if we don't, this country is headed in the wrong direction. We are, to me, right now, a socialist country, and I think we're headed toward communism if we don't stop.
Well, it's a very moment in time. This is, my slogan is the best moment is now.
Yeah.
But there's no question that this is our moment in time. And unless we get busy and get active in this process, you know, just to add on about Conservative Roundtable, the program that comes on at the start of the hour, we ask for guests to come on from all over America. They call in, and future shows will be having Skype presentations, so you'll be able to visibly be able to see them on video. And so next week we have a really important guest coming on Monday.
Excellent.
And that's Kelly Ward. Kelly Ward is was a candidate for the United States Senate in Arizona, and she ran against John McCain and came in second in that election. So she's a real strong conservative, and she's looking forward to being our guest and give us the update on Arizona, because Arizona is another very important race that's going on there with Donald Trump.
Absolutely.
And he's a little bit behind, but it's close enough where it's in the margin of error also. So if we all push hard, Arizona, Nevada, some of these inland western states, I think Donald Trump will do very well on Election Day.
Absolutely. And it's amazing that they're already talking about how many undocumented illegal aliens and dead people and all kind of people are voting in this election. And no wonder they want open borders, because then states like Arizona and Texas and New Mexico, who have always been solid red states, conservative states, will begin to become liberal, because Obama and Hillary Clinton admittedly, even at the debate, she wants open borders. So, of course, they want all the illegals to flood over into the country, and they're going to give them IDs and Social Security cards, John, and allow them to vote in elections so they can continue to stay in power. It's ridiculous, and I feel so sorry for the Border Patrol, 16,000 agents who, for the first time ever in history, endorsed the president. They endorsed Donald Trump. And, they're down there fighting a good fight, and the last thing we need is more illegals flooding into this country. It's a shame.
Yeah, it is a plan. You know, I've always been dismayed at the idea that unions would support Democrats.
Yeah.
You know, because they're working, hard-working people.
Absolutely,
they're looking
John.
for a better living. They're taxpayers, and so the Democrats, what they want to do is they want to bring in illegals to come into America to take away those very valuable jobs.
Absolutely, John.
And so, to me, it really does not make too much sense when they're paying a lot of the bill and to be giving it away to people that are not willing to do the right process to come to America. Absolutely. I don't blame anybody in the world to want to come to America.
Yes.
Because I've traveled to many different parts of the world, and I know there's no place like home.
None.
Even as bad as it is, folks, it is a heck of a lot better than any place else in the world.
You kiss that ground when you come back.
I'm telling you. I had so many problems overseas, I couldn't even tell you how many times I had.
Absolutely.
I was in a place called Sri Lanka, India.
Oh, wow.
I ate some food over there, and I got food poisoning. Oh, my God. I was sick for like 2 weeks. I couldn't believe it. So, we have a lot of protections here in America that keep us safe. But, I've noticed...
Are you saying you miss In-N-Out, John?
Heck yeah, In-N-Out and Caesar's Pizza, right. All the good products that we're used to. I like international food anyway, so, I'm a good eater when it comes to different types of food. So, I'm not shy about that. But, no, I
like good old American cuisine, isn't it?
Then I went to a place called Taiwan, and I got hit by a motorcycle. So, it's just crazy, there used to be a lot of order, law and order, but it seems like that law and order is just being totally discarded.
Absolutely, John.
It's turning into chaos.
Sitting here today, we're with co-host John Estrada. He's the wonderful host of Conservative Roundtable. Weather update is brought to you by Radio Tribune. High today of 83 degrees, low tonight 65. Wind southwest 5 miles an hour. Tomorrow it's warming up a little bit. The high is supposed to be 86 degrees. Sunday the high is supposed to be 88. And Monday we have a 30% chance of rain. Winds are supposed to pick up 15 to 20 from the northwest. And we have a 30% chance of rain on Monday. The high is supposed to be 80. So the temperature is going to be dropping the next few days. It's going to be warm. I don't know how many of you Chicago fans, but the Cubs won yesterday 8-1. They are one game away from their first World Series appearance since 1947. So go Cubs. Even though I'm a Southsider from Chicago, I would like to see the Northsiders finally win, or at least go to the World Series. I know Cleveland is going to the World Series also for the first time in a while, and they're looking for their first World Series victory since 1947. So,
it may be a pretty interesting World Series, especially when both haven't won or haven't been there for such a long time.
Absolutely, John.
I think Cleveland's playing really good ball now.
Yes, they are.
And so, but you never know.
You never know.
I've seen some, teams that you think are invincible.
Yes.
And they're going to just wipe out everybody. And the other team seems like it was sort of crippled getting into the playoffs.
Absolutely.
And then all of a sudden, it sure switches. So, in that type of arena, you never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely. And the Chicago Bears lost to the Green Bay Packers last night. I believe the score was 35-10. Aaron Rodgers set the Green Bay Packer record for most completions in a game. Green Bay is 4-2, and they're off Sunday. Chicago Bears fell to 1-6. Once again, I am here with the host of Conservative Roundtable, John Estrada, who follows the show at 1 o'clock. Please stay tuned and listen because he really talks about the truth and where America needs to be headed. How much of a strength or weakness? Because I think even in the Democratic Party, they are confused how much they should use Bill Clinton as
you can tell, they're not using him very much.
Yes.
He's been very quiet. And that's their plan. They're going to keep him for the next 3 weeks. You're probably not going to hear very much of Bill Clinton. They done froze him out of the game. He's like, because they're making a little hay with Donald Trump and a few of these stories. But I tell you what, it's nothing like what Bill Clinton has done.
Absolutely.
So it's like they don't really want to get into that, exchange. So don't expect too much of that.
You think they're going to keep him on ice?
He's on ice. He's on ice. he's going to be hiding someplace, probably underneath the blankets. I'm not saying with who.
You never know, huh? You never know. Yeah, I mean, and you know, Rolando always talks about just the classiness of the Trump family. You know, I forget who you said you had a chance to shake hands with.
I was fortunate to meet Laura Trump. This was, I believe it was, was it yesterday or this a couple of days ago?
2 days ago.
Yeah, in Henderson, at the Havana Inn. They had a rally over there, and it was pretty good turnout, and it was pretty exciting, and I had a chance to tell her, God bless her, which was pretty cool.
That's right. That's right. Where do you think the military vote is going to go, John? Because I think especially in Florida, it's going to be very important.
You know, I think, and the good news about this kind of broadcast, the troops overseas can hear this on the internet, and so I would venture to say that most veterans and most military will support Donald Trump for president. And I think it's going to be very significant. So I think it's going to be a good turnout on that part.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So those absentee ballots are very, very important. If you're overseas listening to this broadcast, make sure that you do get those ballots in, because I tell you what, this election, every vote's going to count, and your vote especially is going to count. So turn it in.
Absolutely, John. If you want to call in, once again, it's 702-983-0711, 702-983-0711. Support Radio Tribune. Is very important that we keep radio shows on like this, like Conservative Roundtable. We will be discussing pretty soon. We might be doing a fundraiser, maybe even, and you know, we can use all the help that we possibly can get to keep broadcasts like this on. It's very important because the liberals are spending millions and billions of dollars to get their message out, and if you want to continue to hear conservative shows like this, we sure need your support. But just call in if you have you want to contribute to the radio show, or if you want to just ask any questions and join in on Radio Tribune, and or call John at 1 o'clock, and if you want to discuss any topics with him and the Conservative Roundtable. Once again, this show is being sponsored by Mail by Renee, 702-626-0716, and for $10 a month, you can stop in and see CN and get a wonderful downtown mailing address for $10 a month, 702-626-0716. I'm sitting here with the fabulous host of Conservative Roundtable, John Estrada, who is doing so many wonderful things for the Republican movement and the conservative movement, and he cannot stress enough for you to get registered, get the vote out. Please, every vote counts. Make sure that you punch the ballot on November 8th for Donald Trump.
Yeah, there was an event yesterday by, I'll read this that just came out. It says, because the Supreme Court hangs in the balance, a group called Priests for Life is saying it is a moral imperative for Catholics and other pro-life voters to vote in support of pro-life candidates in this election, says Father Frank Pavone of Priests for Life. Brothers and sisters, we are here on behalf of Priests for Life and our membership across the country, Priests for Life, Deacons for Life, and all the lay faithful who join themselves with us, people also across denominational lines, to make very clear and strong statement here. Any candidate, any political party that stands for legal abortion believes in a tyrant state. There are two ways to look at this question. And a tyrant state, according to Father Perun, does not respect life. So, you know, that is clearly they're talking, there's a distinction between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton on this pro-life issue.
Absolutely.
In fact, the vice presidents, there's even a bigger difference. Well, I'd say not different, big, but there's the same difference, and that is the fact regarding the Democrats vice presidential candidate, the Catholics consider him as a cafeteria Catholic.
Right.
You know what that means? That means he picks and chooses what part of Catholic he wants to be.
That's right.
He wants a menu. He says, "Oh, I don't like this one, so I'm going to choose that one."
You know, how disgusting is it, John? I know you were horrified when during the debate when you heard about her late-term abortion beliefs. It is, John, we wouldn't be here if that was allowed. Can you imagine if our mothers, if that was allowed, John?
Oh yeah, we wouldn't be sitting here right now if our mothers decided that we were not, that it was their choice to abort us during the pregnancy. Now, just think how important this is, this life issue. This the Roe versus Wade decision was put out there many decades ago, and it is the leading cause of death in America. Millions and millions of babies have been aborted since the Roe versus Wade decision. And they use that decision to have abortions in America. So the solution to this whole thing is for us to get U.S. Supreme Court justices on the U.S. Supreme Court to revisit this decision and have it overturned.
Absolutely.
Because with the technology, babies can live longer. They can have a better life than many decades ago. That law, Roe versus Wade, is obsolete.
Absolutely.
And needs to be changed and needs to be totally taken out of our legal system.
Absolutely.
It's an obsolete law. And so this is why this election is so vital, that we go out and we cast our ballots. Yeah, you know, they might try to pick some stupid thing to look at about Donald Trump, or they might try to make him look like he's this way or that way. But it's not what people say; it's what people do that matters.
Absolutely, John.
And this is so vital. We've seen the amount of corruption and the total destruction of our Bill of Rights and our U.S. Constitution. And unless we get ourselves together and we go out and pay a price to go out and vote, because it may be tough, but you know what? It is necessary. It's a must.
Amen, John. You know, one of the most interesting topics that we didn't really touch on yesterday when we were sitting around talking was what's going on in Syria. And, you know, it's such a contrast when you listen to the two plans. This is the second moderator who was brought up having safe zones in Syria. It's a humanitarian disaster what's going on over there. And to hear the differences, I mean, you know, this is a man who has never been in politics, but common sense says you don't tell your enemies what you're going to do. It's amazing. I mean, you tell them exactly the date we're coming, what we're going to do, when we'll be there, when we'll drop the bombs, and you're never going to catch the heads of these terrorist organizations. Exactly. First of all, you have to admit that they are terrorist organizations. You have to actually say the words that they are terrorists, you know, that they're terrorist organizations, but it's just amazing. And Donald Trump says, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to do. And they say that that's crazy. And he sat down, he has the endorsements of over 200 generals. You know, and any good general will tell you that the act of surprise is how you defeat your enemy. You don't tell them the time and the date. Could you imagine in Normandy or in some of these attacks, you know, if they had told them exactly? I mean, we spent millions of dollars having military and prop tanks, you know, so that we could go in a different part of France. You don't tell your enemies what you're going to do. The element of surprise is how you defeat them. That's how you win a war.
Well, see, yeah, Chris, you know, Hillary Clinton does not know how to keep our troops, our Americans, safe. Because she just doesn't understand it. She don't get it.
Right.
You know, she over there puts this personal server in her home, which risks literally our troops overseas, our private secrets to the enemy, and then for her to disclose military actions ahead of time,
right,
over the air, so the enemy can hear it.
Right.
It's just totally nonsense.
Right.
It's so absurd, and it just amazes me how they just don't get it. They don't care. They don't care because see, it's like their old saying: they're so arrogant, they're in denial.
Right. Absolutely.
They think they're doing everybody a great service because their name is Clinton or their name is that or their name is that. It has nothing to do about names. It's who or what is right. It's not who is right. It's what is right.
Absolutely, John.
It's, protecting Americans is right. That's the right course.
Right.
And when a commander-in-chief broadcasts his plan for military action before the military has acted, that's a criminal act.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're putting our good soldiers in harm's way. I mean, John, I know you're in the military, and God bless you, and thank you for your service. My dad was a military police officer for 21 years, and, they just absolutely crushed George W. Bush for, a lot of what happened in Iraq, and I can tell you this, from a military standpoint, they did a wonderful job. Now, after the war, or after they destroyed the Iraqi army, which really wasn't much of a fight, I forget how many days it took us to dismantle them. Of course, the politicians took over after that, and it became a disaster. But, even with no war going on, as having Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State and Barack Obama as Commander-in-Chief, we have been embarrassed all over the world. We were embarrassed in Russia with the Georgian situation. We're being embarrassed in Iran. We're being embarrassed in Iraq. We're being embarrassed in Syria. People wake up. We have to have a change of direction.
Well, I think there's no question that our foreign policy is totally wrong. Okay, there is 3 ways you can go, and that is to lead, follow, or get out of the way. Okay. In the case of the United States, we're following the United Nations.
Absolutely.
We're following the Russians. We're following China. We're just following every foreign entity in the world. And so you don't become to be a great country if you don't lead.
Absolutely.
America needs a leader. America needs to lead the world in the right way, to take that moral compass and go with that, go with God.
And they look for us for leadership, John. They do.
Exactly. So if we don't lead with God's help and God's blessing, this world is going to be more corrupt than anything else. And that's the problem right now.
Amen. 1:15, we're sitting here with the fabulous host of Conservative Roundtable, which comes up at 1 o'clock, John Estrada. If you'd like to call in and talk to us, we would love to hear from you. 702-983-0711, 702-983-0711. If it sounds a little different from your regular everyday host for years, Rolando Laroth, he will be with you later in this afternoon. Rolando, we miss him very much, but I'm honored and blessed to sit in this chair. I don't feel worthy to sit in this chair today, but luckily I have my host John Estrada with me, and he's comforting me because I'm not used to this. But I'm blessed to be sitting here.
You're doing a great job, Chris,
so
and it is an honor, and I'm glad to be here with you today.
Thank you, John.
To talk about the issues that really do matter.
Absolutely.
There's another saying that I'm very accustomed to, and I believe, there's people that make things happen, there's people that wish things would happen, and finally there's the people that wondered what happened. So so too much our politics today is those people that wondered what happened. How did this happen? It's just like today, the cyber attack. They're wondering how can foreign entities or or domestic enemies, wherever this thing is coming from, how can they cripple our business sector? And God knows what else they're crippling right now. We don't even know the extent of the damage that could be compromised.
Absolutely.
So
I've always been worried about a strike of some sort, whether it's an EMT or whether it's some sort of hacking on our electrical system. This country would go back to the Stone Age, and we have probably the most antiquated for a modern country, electric system and in the entire world. So, that's, it's very dangerous, and, we're just falling behind in me, John, infrastructure-wise, and so many other ways. We're falling behind as a country, and, we can put people back to work. Donald Trump wants to put people back to work, not receive benefits. Put people back to work. American people, John, have so much pride. They like to get up in the morning and have a purpose, go to work, get up, have a cup of coffee, talk to their family, kiss their kids goodbye, drop them off at school, and go to work and earn a paycheck, John. They feel good about themselves when they can do that. They don't want welfare. They don't want handouts. And that's what we've reduced so many of our citizens to, John. And we just want to have more people come in and drain the system and with $20 trillion in debt, we cannot afford to continue this. We have to bring companies back to work. We have to bring money back to work from offshore, and that's what Donald Trump wants to do.
Well, it seems like a great economic plan. I received a letter yesterday from some business leaders all over America that are supporting Donald Trump. And they have a plan, and their plan is very simply that Donald Trump is the best person to put the economy back into a proper place.
Absolutely.
And too much regulation hurts business. We need to, quit this nonsense of trying to punish business from getting the job done.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's a business in the world that's going to put a bad product in the marketplace, because if they do, they will be out of business faster than anything. So it just doesn't make sense.
Absolutely.
It's a big investment to start a business. Time, effort, money. I've been involved in a lot of different types of businesses, and I know it's a lot of work. It's not a simple process. And then on top of that, then you have the government that's trying to be a competitor to you and trying to put roadblocks on your success.
Absolutely.
It's nonsense.
Absolutely.
So, we need an administration that's going to make the business sector better. I am pro-business. I'm for the small guy, the big guy, the mom and pops, the corporations, you name it. I'm there for you, because I know we need business. We need business in America. I support the private sector. The private sector needs help.
Absolutely.
And I do subscribe to the same thing you just brought up, Chris, a moment ago, was bringing all that capital from overseas and bring it over here. Just a few days ago, the taxpayers of Las Vegas, Nevada, are going to pay for a stadium. Well, it would have been great from my point of view if they would have been able to bring some of that money from overseas, bring that money, invest in this project, and then give a tax break to those people that are bringing that money back in.
Absolutely.
It's a win-win situation. It accomplishes exactly what's been done, but it doesn't put hardship on anybody else.
Absolutely, John. I almost laughed during the debate, and Donald Trump kind of snickered when Hillary Clinton continued to bring up the fact that he built one of his casinos, one of his apartment buildings with Chinese steel. Mm-hmm. And he simply turned around and looked and said, you know what, make it competitive for me to buy American steel. And I'll buy American steel. But when you put the plants out of business and the ones that are here are so non-competitive price-wise, what am I supposed to do? I'm a businessman. I'm in the private sector. And when you're in the private sector and you have to answer to stockholders, you're going to do what's best for the company. What he wants to do is make Americans competitive once again with worldwide companies, and you have to lower the tax rates to start that.
Yeah, there's not too many more manufacturing sectors left in the United States. Most of everything now is overseas, including steel. A lot of people don't know that.
It's amazing.
And so, unfortunately, our business sector has to go overseas to buy products. So it's not so much Donald Trump buying goods overseas. That's the way the marketplace is today. Yeah. They should answer that question properly. The proper thing is, unfortunately, the Democrats have destroyed the manufacturing sectors in America, and so we have to go overseas to get the products.
He has the greatest answer. He always says, you've been in public, you've been in the political office for 30 years. Why haven't you done anything? He says you keep talking about what you're going to do. You've been there for 30 years. When are you going to start doing something?
Well, you know what? Unfortunately, she has done a lot, but it's been bad.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah, whatever she hasn't, you're right. She hasn't done hardly anything, but whatever she has done has been bad.
You know, I look at Bernie Sanders' face in the background every time he's forced to support her at one of her rallies, and I can just tell he just is cringing, because he did say, he said over and over again, she has, you know, her decision making is horrible, and you know, I don't know how much they're paying him to sit back there. You know,
he's getting compensated. He's getting compensated. You know, he's not doing this for free.
Absolutely.
You know, I was at the UNLV debate for the presidential candidates the other day, and I talked to a lot of students there at UNLV, and young people, young future taxpayers, and they were telling me they're undecided. And so a lot of those people were going with Bernie Sanders, and now they're truly undecided where to go, either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump.
Wow.
Now, that tells me they may be the deciding factor in these last few days, few weeks before the election, because their vote is very important too. And, you know, the more of these WikiLeaks and all this information coming out of what Hillary Clinton did to Bernie Sanders, may totally change and turn them off.
Absolutely, John. And you're right. I think those are a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters, the younger independents and undecided.
Yeah.
We have 5 minutes left in this show. 5 minutes coming up will be Conservative Roundtable. If you like what you are listening to, please continue to listen. Don't change your station. Do not move. It's going to even be more interesting coming up the next hour. All we're going to do is switch seats, and John is going to come into the whole seat, and I'm going to stay along with him, hopefully for another hour. And we have a lot to talk about. We're just getting started. And again, if you'd like to call in to the end of this show or Conservative Roundtable and talk to John, 702-983-0711. We are getting down to it, people. Don't listen to the liberal media. Please make up your own mind. Decide what kind of future you want for you and your children and your children's children. We are getting to the point in America, to the tipping point. With $20 trillion in debt. Our military is being stretched and is underfunded. Our veterans are not being treated respectfully when they come back from serving. We need a change, John.
Well, I got a solution to some of that, and that is turn off your TV. Don't waste your money on those newspapers, because it just is it's all lying. So join the Conservative Broadcast Network, Conservative America Broadcast Network. That includes Radio Tribune, all of it, where we can get the truth out to you, because the truth does matter, and the truth is very important. So go ahead and make a difference for America. Turn off and boycott, and don't have anything to do with that liberal media anymore, because it just doesn't do you any good. All they're trying to do is prevent you from voting on November the 8th. So do yourself a favor, save yourself a lot of headaches, and go out there and vote for Donald Trump on November 8th, because truly this is the best way. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to wrap up, John. It was a pleasure. I love having you on. And stay tuned, people. In a few minutes, we're going to have John hosting a fabulous show, Conservative Roundtable. So stay right where you're at, and God bless America, God bless our troops, and we miss you, Orlando.